Chris Daniels Show's Otakon-A-Thon 2012, and we're back. My guest today is best known as Sebastian from the popular Black Butler. It's J. Michael Tatum. Jake, thank you and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm pleased to be here.
It's awesome. So, what got you interested in voice acting?
Well, I've been into acting since I was very, very little. When I was a child, I got into it through speech therapy, actually, because I had a debilitating stutter when I was very young. And through various occupational therapists, I just found my way to the stage. It was not an uncommon path, from what I understand. And I loved it. I loved being on stage. A lot of stage work from the ages of, say, 9 until I was well into my teens. And I simply got out of it, though, when I got older, because I'm not a very courageous person, so it takes a very courageous person to try to make a living at acting, so I gave up on it, sadly. And long story short, eventually it found me again, and when it did, I jumped at the chance. I was actually tricked into it. A friend of mine tricked me into auditioning, and the auditioning was actually recording the first 6 episodes of Samurai 7 as Rikichi, which was my first ever role with Chris Bevins, who was the trickster who got me in, and I've been pretty much going at full throttle since. So,
well, with all these classic roles that you've done, it's amazing, and that you're one of anime's most peculiar voices.
I like that. That's the first I've heard of that. That I'm one of the most peculiar voices. That's good. It's good to be peculiar, right?
Yeah. Never be normal. Dare to be different.
I take great pride in being peculiar.
So one of your best-known roles is Sebastian from the popular Black Butler. What was it like voicing for the show, and what do you think of Sebastian's character?
Well, voicing for the show was delightful. It was so much fun, and of course, getting to work with Brina Palencia, who I work well with so much. She and I have personalities and voices that just counterpoint each other really, really well, I believe. And so any chance I have to work with her is always one I jump at. As far as Sebastian's character, it's evolved now that we're into 2 seasons. My take on him has transformed and evolved, if you like, a bit. In the beginning, I thought what made him such a challenge to play was because he's not human. He's merely pretending to be human. So you can't really. It's not fair to ascribe human motivations to him because he's a demon, and who knows what a demon's thinking besides, here's a soul, tasty, and so it was interesting. He was a bit of a cipher. More than a bit of a cipher, actually. And so it was, so much of his performance came from my watching and studying Brina's performance as CL, because I see Sebastian, at least in every outward particular, to be a projection of CL's unconscious. That's the mask that Sebastian is wearing in order to fulfill his contract. What's underneath that is anybody's guess. And I just kind of let that be whatever it wanted to be, and tried not to control it too much. As season 2 has progressed, though, I feel that the mask, Sebastian's mask, and whatever is beneath it has begun to fuse because of his love and his respect for CL. And so I think he's evolving into something very different than where he started, which is fascinating. He's great fun to play, because that voice it's a wonderful voice to get to do. People just melt when you do it. I wish it worked in the outside world. Yeah. But it's also on a side note, that voice, Sebastian's voice, is also very much a sort of a love letter, a way of thank you, if you like, to my first and my best speech therapist that I had when I was a child, who was British, and so who sort of taught me the accent accidentally, and so that Sebastian, my performance as Sebastian, in a way, is my love letter to her. May she rest in peace.
When you do that voice, I feel like I should have my pinky up. It's all fancy and whatnot.
It just has that effect. There's something about the British accent that I think everyone responds to. You just go, oh, classy is here, classy is here. I have to bring my A game. That's it. I don't know why.
Why can't they use that voice in the BBC instead of the, you're listening to the BBC? If you did Sebastian doing the, you're listening to the BBC, maybe more people would listen to it.
Maybe so. Maybe the BBC should hire me.
Hint, hint. So as season 2 is progressing, what can we expect from season 2?
Well, as season 2, you can expect it to be incredibly good. Of course, it's been out now for a bit, so if you haven't seen it, treat yourself. You're missing out. It's really fun to see Sebastian pitting his wits against an adversary that is more or less his equal. That is nice. There's a character, Claude, of course, is also a demon butler, and fascinating, wonderfully played by Jason Douglas in the dub. Lucy Christian plays CL's evil evil twin, if you like. Not really a twin, but his CL's counterpoint.
So she wears her eye patch on the left eye.
Alois Trancy is a despicable character and absolutely you can't look away from him. Him.
Her, him. I mean, you can't tell with these kids.
They're so fair skinned. But Lucy Christian is amazing in the role. Jason Douglas is amazing in the role. And the wonderful Caitlin Glass joined us for season 2 to play Hannah, one of the other servants in the Alois Trancy household. It's a fabulous show. It's very dark. It's of the 2 seasons. I think it's perfect. They make a perfect whole together.
And I expect there's a lot more Grill running around in it.
Oh, there is a bit. There is a bit for anyone who's a fan of the cute redheads.
Or as I like to call him, Chainsaw Charlie.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Well, aside from, of course, Sebastian, you also do France in Hetalia, and the World Series is, I don't know if it just came out or if it's getting ready to come out. So what's it like to play France, and what can we expect from the pretty boy nation of the world for season 3?
Well, you can expect to be offended if you're French.
Half the people that listen to this show are already offended.
Then my work is done. You can expect more of the same from France. He's no tamer. I can tell you that. And it's so much fun to get to work on that show. That show is so frenetic and insane. And so I was with a gentleman just earlier who compared the rhythms of that show to the great screwball, like Marx Brothers comedies of the 30s and 40s. And I must confess, though they'd been staring at me in the face for the past 3 years, I hadn't thought of that before. But that is a perfect analog for the experience of getting to work on that show. It is like being in Night at the Opera, or Horse Feathers, or Laurel and Hardy.
Or Animal Crackers.
Or Animal Crackers. Oh, that you make my heart smile. Yeah, no, it's totally like that. It's you would have to be made of stone not to have fun working on that show. It's just as much fun working on that show as it is watching it, and watching it is profoundly fun.
I mean, you'd have to be as boring as Russia to enjoy it. Sorry, Jerry Jewell, nothing personal.
Oh, I think Russia has some secrets. I don't think Russia's really all that boring. I think it's a facade.
I've seen some of that darkness stuff, and they were like, oh, hey, Russia, how's it going? And you hear him do that spiel on how he has all those evil plants. I'm like, okay, kids, slowly back away. Don't make a sound. Leave Russia alone. But France, of course, flamboyant. And ironically, he's on the radio too, which is weird because I'm on the radio, but I'm not all flamboyant like France, which me being flamboyant be kind of creepy.
I don't know. Maybe you should take a page from France's book and try it out. It's radio. It's a very liberating medium. I think you should try being flamboyant.
I don't know. I like people liking me.
Oh, people like flamboyant, though. They really do.
No. People just don't like France.
Yeah, it's true. It has nothing to do with this being flamboyant. It's just because he's French.
I don't know.
I feel horrible saying that. I love the French. I love the French.
We love the French.
Can I say that? I love the French.
The Dennis Daniels Show does not any way, shape, or form condone discrimination of any nation, of any country, of any globe.
No. That's a point I'd like to address that I think makes Hetalia such a wonderful show, is that we're not making fun of nationalities. We're making fun of people that believe the stereotypes. That's the joke. We're making fun of people that think that's what French people are like. The joke's on them, and I think it's brilliant.
America's full of itself. France is, flamboyant. And China's got a speech problem. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why the rest of the world hates us. Oh, gosh. Well, anyway, we come from the College Conservatory of Music at the University of Cincinnati. We have a lot of theater majors, vocal majors, drama majors. Do you have any advice for those who do want to pursue a career in voice acting?
I think that's a big issue to discuss. Let me see if I can condense it all. I think the biggest thing is to just know, because it's a creative job. That's the job. Those are the jobs everybody wants. And while it is very, very rewarding. I'm a voice actor. Can you tell? While it is very rewarding, it's also extraordinarily difficult to make a living at. So one has to cast their net very, very wide and be willing to do all sorts of acting. The key word in voice acting is acting. And so just sort of go where the wind takes you and be willing to to survive on very little money. But and apart from that, you study, build contacts, do everything you can. But I think the thing is, the important thing to remember, and I don't mean to bring the room down, but it doesn't matter how talented you are, or how professional you are, or how many contacts you have. Unless luck is on your side, it's simply not going to happen. But fortunately, I've discovered in my own ramblings that luck does tend to favor the humble. So anyone that wants to get into this business, I would recommend to just have the right attitude. Don't come in with the attitude of a conqueror. Just be willing, be easy to work with. That's how you get work. Is people want to work with you because you're pleasant, because you're fun, because you can do the work well and dependably, but also because you're just a good human being. And more importantly, if I can speak philosophically, people will always tell you, follow your passion, follow your passion, follow your passion. And I don't disagree with that advice, but I think just as important is the idea of taking your passion with you so that you can find yourself able to be fulfilled by whatever you happen to find yourself doing in life. You may end up doing something that you had no idea was a thing you could do when you set out on this journey, and you may not have found it had you been so tunnel visioned by the goal you set for yourself as a young person that you would have passed it right by. So just bear that in mind. Life is really, really big, and if you don't get to do the thing that you really, really want to do now, there's still a hell of a lot of things out there that can do it for you.
Well, Mr. Tatum, thank you so much for being on my program, and hopefully later down the road we can have you on for a more extensive interview like we've done with so many of our guests.
I think that would be delightful.